Man, I love that proposal tool. We've heard that several times from many of our users. And I want my selling technicians to be able to use the proposal tool to give proposals to the customers, but I really don't want them to see the net profit that we're building into every job. Is there any way that I can hide that? Well, that's the topic of this week's Planning for Profit Minute. We can absolutely hide the net profit and the labor rate that we're building into each individual company or proposal, if you will. Now, if you'll remember, I'm going to go for a minute right back here to reports. And in reports, the net profit analysis report, in my particular case, I'm looking at my replacement department here, right? I can see my replacement department is set for, if I blow that up just a little bit, right, is set for $67 an hour is what we're pricing it at. And if I go down a little bit farther, I can see here that that's $67 dollars per hour. Whoops, wrong department. Let me just hit the right department. Again, you always have to click on the department. When I look at that one, I can see that that department, that $67 an hour, will generate 13.18% net profit. Now, I know that, right? You know that because you've designed your model, but I really don't want my selling techs or some of my comfort consultants to see those values that are in there. And again, when I'm in the jobs section, the proposal tool, when I look at a particular job, again, you remember that on the opening screen, I can see that labor rate and that desired net profit that we're shooting for. You can turn that off by individual user. And to do that, we're simply going to go up here into setup and then into users. When I do that, I can now see how it's set by individual user. Now, as I look at it, these are all the people that I've actually given access to my software, my model to. I can see their email address. I see their individual role. Right? So remember, users, when you set them up, you dictated what they had access to. Admin, of course, have access to everything in the software. And salesmen are literally just that. They're salespeople. All they see is the jobs tool. Now, we've added in 2 extra columns in here. The first one is the proposal tool access. And so you can actually enable or disable access to the 4-option proposal tool by individual user. Now, by default, it's going to be enabled and turned on for everybody. But you can simply click on the toggle and shut it off. The next column over is to hide the net profit and labor rate from that user. So this particular salesman here, as I look at them, right, that's it's Jordan here, right? He's my salesperson. I want him to use the tool, but I don't want him to see what is the net profit that we're building into the actual software itself. So all we need to do is simply turn that toggle on. Now, I'm going to point out one other area in the proposal tool as well. And if I go back into that particular proposal, again, not only do I see that labor rate and the desired net profit, when I click on compare to all up here, so we actually have the proposal already built, you see all the detail for it. You'll notice that right down here, we have a line. We're showing you what is the net profit that we're building into this particular proposal. And again, that's going to be different on each individual tier based on the product that you're using and things like that. But in this case, it's $1,625 in net profit. Again, I don't want them to see that. So what I'm going to do is, since we had Jordan, my salesman, set up as a sales only, and we have that field hidden, what we're going to do is I'm simply going to log in now as Jordan. Well, the first thing you'll notice is that as he's in there, he doesn't see anything or hardly anything on his menu. All he sees is jobs. Remember, salesmen, if you have them set up as a salesman, all they will see is the jobs function of the tool. When I go in there, now I'll go back into that same proposal. So they'll see the same proposals that we had before. And I'm simply going to go into and edit that first proposal that we were looking at a minute ago. And you'll notice at this point, now they no longer see that hourly rate or the net profit that we're looking at building into this particular proposal. if I click on the compare to all to look at that detail, I can see at that point the net profit line that we had in there before is now gone. Right? So they don't see that. The gross margin line, that's the stuff we need just to cover the bills and operate the company, but they don't see the net profit, the overages from that point as well. So you can drive that by individual user simply by turning that toggle in users off. That is this week's Planning for Profit Minute.